Hello and welcome to another episode of Hittobox. Today I'm going to go through Dragon Dogma 2, the character creator for it, and I'm going to add in Ada from Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 4 remakes. Basically the same thing. Also, if you're looking for just the final numerical values and slider values and all that stuff for just the character, head to the last 2.5 minutes of the video and I go through everything rapidly instead of the long way like I'm going to for the next 20 or so minutes. Alright, so here we're just picking out the character essentially, trying to get a base foundation, trying to get something that kind of resembles Ada based on the reference that's on the screen. Just a tip, if you're going to reference anything, and not just Ada in particular, but anything else, make sure you kind of stick to one image, because a lot of images on Google are going to be different lighting, different poses, different motions of the face, different expressions. So that's going to throw you off a little bit when you're trying to do this in particular. So just keep that in mind. One thing I had to do for this video, because it specifies the height, I actually had to look that up. So I did. Apparently Ada is 5'7", or what Dragon's Dogma cares about is 170 centimeters. So that's what she is, and easy peasy, just put that in. I did condense this video down quite considerably, as it was originally about an hour-long video, and that just seemed like way too much time. So maybe next time, if people want it, I'll do the longer version, but I shorten some things down and cut some things out. But all the settings again will be at the end of the video if I miss anything. But back to what we're doing right now, basically just trying to get the body to be, well, more female and kind of fit her slender kind of framework. Kind of ironically, she looks a lot like Leon at the moment, which is kind of goofy. But we're going to go from Leon to Ada. I promise. We'll get there eventually. Really just adjusting the head size because she's kind of bobblehead, but the weird thing, she has like a really thin body, and then even in that picture she has kind of like a larger head, which is kind of unnatural. I would wager that if you looked at different imagery, she probably has a more normal head size to body ratio. But so I'm going to slightly ignore the bobblehead a little bit here, but the neck size, the head position, it's kind of weird because naturally in Dragon's Dogma, its creator, it has like a what's known as nerd neck, which is when you stare at a screen too long and your neck your head protrudes a little forward. You can see in the image that I'm referencing that Ada is more straight up in her posture. She has good posture. That makes a lot more sense because she's a very confident lady. So we got to fix that. Still, you can kind of see it a little bit when turned sideways, but we'll get there eventually. The great thing about this editor is that it really hits like absolutely everything in it. So if there's something you want to change, more than likely it is here, which is great. Just right now I'm just really tweaking the shoulder width, and as always I have to kind of look up references for Ada just to make sure, because that image on screen right now isn't the full body of the character. So I will say at the end of the video, even with the final project that I have, you might still need to edit and tweak it a little bit more. Some things might still look a little wonky, but that's why you kind of flip back and forth between references. But at the same, like I said earlier, is that there can also be a problem because like right now I'm looking at like a 2D artwork, which isn't going to help a lot, but getting the overall size and figure of the body, which you see in the 2D artwork, it's more of an hourglass figure, and right now it's just like kind of like a boy figure. It looks very weird and wrong right now. Again, we're still kind of in, it looks like Leon, but we'll get there again. We'll just keep chipping away and changing every setting possible. Very time consuming, but if you want Ada to look right, you can do this. Or if you want the really quick version, you just go to the end of the video. So either way. But if you want to create other characters, at least kind of going through all these things should help you. Just kind of understand why you're doing the things you're doing. And, you know, it's very easy to get things goofy very quickly. But if you want something that's more natural, just going through every setting. And the great thing about this is that you see on the slider, there's a little ticker in the middle of the bar, but it's not always centered. And that's kind of like the average body proportion size. So if you go smaller, it's usually a tinier person versus larger person. Now, really just trying to get a kind of a better facial shape and also jawline. Trying to get something that's more feminine but matches Ada, which she has just naturally a really pointy, narrow chin. And then you're trying to also kind of get the eye shape and nose a little bit. Again, it's not a huge deal at this point in stage, just because you're going to change all these individual things in a moment. But getting that overall shape of the head is important, because here's kind of where you get that outline of the head. But again, it's not essential quite yet. We're just trying to get that base foundation still. And away from Leon. So I've kind of narrowed it down to these last two, and I'm thinking this one looks closest to Ada. And that other one I had up, this one, it's kind of weird because like this one looks better kind of overall, but the other one looks more Asian, I guess. That's a way to put it. Because Ada is Asian, so, but again, we can change everything, so not a huge ordeal. Skin color, again, just trying to get something close. Because you're going to change the individual colors for everything. But it kind of seems like the top left is more younger skin, and then the further you go down on the list is older skin. So probably if you're going for a younger character, keep it towards the top. Like I said, you can change the color, which there's a lot of skin colors. Almost too many. But I guess if you want something really weird, it's like Avatar or some other character that has a totally different skin color. It's great to have those. You can have Shrek Ada, you know, whatever. But we're going for a very light skin. It's hard because like every reference image, like the one that's on the screen, she's very pale. And then some of the imagery in Resident Evil 4 remakes is a lot more of a orangish hue to it. And I just personally prefer more of the whiter, more natural Asian skin looking color, I guess, to put it that way. It's really just a very minute difference between Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4 remake, which again, they probably used the same character model, but they probably just tweaked and updated it, and obviously she's wearing different clothes, so. But the one thing I will say I did mess up is that, as you can see, I chose a hairstyle that covers half the face, which is a point I should have pointed out earlier in the video, but don't do that, because you can change the hair later, so it's hard to see half the face, so that was my bad. Also, this is not the final hair that I'll end up using anyways, so my mistake. But you can still see half the face, and you just have to mirror it, essentially. As long as you keep the settings on for both sides of the face, you should be fine. The only thing that will really hurt by having half the face covered up is really the eye placement and how far away they are from one another. But we have to change that anyway, so. Now, like I said earlier, we were trying to get the outline or overall shape of the head. Here we want, again, like I said earlier, is that we want more of a narrow, pointy face. And just keep chipping away at the settings till it looks right. I don't know if you have to keep sliding back and forth on a slider, whatever. But I'm very particular and picky, so I'm going to keep doing slider movement until it's exact. Like I said, perfectionist. But that's why having a reference up helps a lot. One thing to keep in mind is that when you're editing, make sure you're flipping back and forth between side view and front view. If you just stare at the front view the entire time, all of a sudden your character is going to have a giant ass nose or huge lips or bulging eyeballs or something that's not normal. So just make sure you do the side view and you just move the character basically on the right side of the screen to do that. So here I actually had to use a different reference image because the one I had originally just didn't really give a ton of detail, and it's like kind of just trying to eyeball it to so I don't have like a great side view picture of Ada, and I'm too lazy to go in the game and try to take a screenshot or something, but just kind of understanding that typically most people have a little dip right beneath the forehead and then goes into the nose, and Ada kind of has like it's almost like a crescent moon nose where it goes in and then kind of protrudes out at the tip. And then you just got to pay attention to also the distance between the bottom of the nose and the top of the lip. Here you can see that because I only looked at the front for a bit, the lips are like really protruding out. Yeah, so things look pretty close to what we're going for. I will adjust later on. The nostrils themselves are a little high up in the middle there. You can see a little too much into the nose, which that's never a good thing. So I'll lower that later on in the video, but if you want to do it right now, just keep that in mind. Otherwise, most of the rest of the nose is pretty good. The upper lip comes out a little bit too far still. You see in the image that Ada does have a little bit thicker bottom lip than top lip. And then I wasn't totally satisfied with the hairstyle, and they don't have the exact hairstyle, which would be sweet if they did, but this one is probably the closest that we can possibly get. Has the same kind of curved hair on the left's, well, her right, our left. It is a little bit messier than Ada's hair, but again, this is probably as close as we can get. Has roughly the same forehead shape with the hair. Yeah, this is pretty good. I will say it does kind of look like Cora from Tron Legacy, or aka Olivia Wilde. So I'll have to tweak the eyes a little bit more later on, but I would say this is pretty close. You know, I think it's mostly still looks like Olivia Wilde because of the pupils. So we'll change that in a bit, get those like really dark pupils that Ada has. Then I think we'll be pretty close. And then eyeshadowing we still need to do. And then here, just need to tweak her eyes a little bit because not quite right. again, this kind of comes down to what reference image you're looking at. Like the one that's featured on the screen is, it doesn't feel like there's enough of an angle to her eyes in that image. And she's also really squinty. Got that sly spy look, but again, it's probably up to your preference what you prefer, but we're pretty close. And Ada does have brown eyes, really dark eyes, so we're just gonna straight up do dark brown, dark brown, dark brown, kind of see where we get with it. It is a bit too light still, so we're gonna just continue darkening those eyes, and then sclera color, I honestly have no idea what that is, so I'm just gonna kind of leave that one alone. But the other three, we're just getting darker and darker, baby. And that's, yeah, that's pretty good. Awkward walk animation. Because, you know, Ada walks like that all the time. Do these legs look really hairy to you? It's like, these man legs, or are they just unshaven female legs? They're just, they don't look right. Is there like a smooth skin option? Doesn't really seem like it. And they all look, it's almost like they have too much detail. We want that real smooth skin look, and we don't really have an option for that. It's like really, it's all really veiny and more realistic than I'm looking for. But yeah, from a distance is pretty close. They need a shaved legged option. Obviously, it makes probably most sense for Ada to be a thief since she's a spy. Yeah. And voices, we do not want the male voices. Yeah. Why are these all guy noises? Oh, female. No. Ooh, maniacal Ada. None of these are like that great, but we'll go with that one, I guess. 4, option 4. Valiant hero, Ada. Alright, that is pretty much it for editing Ada. Again, some of the settings might be slightly different, so check all the settings at the end of the video in like 10 seconds. I'll probably do one more of these for Claire, and if anybody else wants me to do Leon or Chris, maybe, or somebody else in the Resident Evil universe, I'll consider it. I'll probably do a lot quicker video though, just for time's sake. But if you like this kind of video, more tutorial-esque, let me know down in the comments. And for everybody else that skipped ahead, your section starts right about now. So thank you for watching Hittobox, and I'll see you next time, or in a few days from now, when Resident Evil 4 Remake as a Dating Sim Part 2 releases for all those that have been anxiously waiting since Part 1 many moons ago. Thanks again for watching, and have a wonderful day.